Kia ora Level 2 PE whānau. Today we'll be looking at the stages of learning, or the different stages of learning, and how all three are broken up. First we have the cognitive, basically the phase associated with a beginner level at a specific skill. After that, progressing to the intermediate level, where we're looking at the associative phase. And finally, after that, going towards mastery, looking at the autonomous phase. Our Koronga Ako will of course be looking at your ability to apply your understanding of these three phases. Again, these three phases of learning or skill learning are known as the cognitive, remember that's your beginner level, the associative when you advance to an intermediate, and then the autonomous. Firstly, we'll be looking at the cognitive phase. So in this phase of learning, an athlete's performance is very inconsistent, typically achieving success between 1 to 5 attempts at the skill out of every 10. For the skill to be performed, it also requires all of the athlete's attention to just perform it. So for example, if you're not used to tennis or a tennis player yourself, taking on a serve requires an extreme amount of attention, and quite often just getting the ball over the net will be a success itself, rather than even focusing on the minute skills of applying topspin or getting the ball to land just in the correct place in your opposition's service square. Once though you start achieving a higher level of success, you start to move on to the intermediate phase. Again, that's the associative phase. So in this phase, the athlete's able to achieve the skill more consistently. The skill itself looks more fluid and natural, so it looks like it's being applied or practiced by someone who is good at the sport, basically. And success is achieved between 5 and 7 times out of 10. As well as this, the skill requires less attention than previously. However, though, in order to improve the skill further, the athlete must now look at those fine or minute parts of the skill and improve upon them to improve the skill overall. So for example, it might be going back to the tennis serve, the height of the throw, and then the point of contact of the tennis ball with the racket, followed by the correct follow through with the angling of your racket being precise enough to determine the flight path of the ball so it lands in exactly the back left hand position of your opponent's service square. Once you start achieving even more success, you move away from the associative phase. Now this is going to the level of mastery, the autonomous phase. Now in this final stage of learning, performances have become very consistent. Typically 9 to 10 is your success rate out of 10, right? And the skill also looks far more fluid and aesthetically pleasing. So that's looking at, say, a Roger Federer serve, a Steph Curry shot from the half court or the 3-point, an extremely accurate archery shot. So basically, someone who's mastered it, it looks that good. The motor programs, right, so that's the programming of the skill itself within our brain, involved are learned and stored for the long term, which means they can be easily recalled, requiring extremely minute amounts of attention. What this does for our athletes, or for you, is enables you to be more aware of game environments and adjust the play or adjust the positioning of your shot accordingly. So again, if we go back to our tennis serve example, if we see that our opponent has come up close to the net, we want to aim for a serve that goes to the far end of their service box. So we're able to adapt to that. If they do return the serve, again, we're very, very well versed in our forehand, so it's at that autonomous phase. What we can then do, rather than being concerned with the positioning of the placement of our shot, or whether we're just going to get it over the net and into the opponent's side of the court, is with the security, knowing that we can produce that shot, simply take our time and ensure that our shot is placed in exactly the area of the court we want it to go, so that we win the point rather than the opponent. So that's all for our skill learning today. Thank you very much for your time. Ka kite no. Catch you next time.